Why we're here? Yeah, I racked my brains a bit, and it was one of two things. Either my flat in Marchmont, but I haven't moved into it yet, or here in the Pleasance at the Kingdome, because I like the silence in here, the kind of calm before the storm. And the very first time that I came to here, it was kind of a coming of age at the festival, and it kind of solidified, I guess personally, a sense of being a mainstay, because it was, I came here, I think, when they first opened up the Pleasance Dome, and it was a new venue, and it's very difficult to get people away from the courtyard and over to here. And it showed considerable faith from Christopher and Anthony and my ability to draw punters over. And I was pretty petrified, because I'd always been like, you know, people's third choice guy. And it was my first year of being a first choice guy. There was punters there specifically to see us, not because they couldn't get into someone else. And originally, this was all facing the other way. And the stage was on the other side of the room, but it had its back to the Ace Dome. And but because we sold that many tickets, and they then put more seats in, and it became their main room here.
How did it go that first year? Obviously, well.
Yeah, it went well. Yeah, you know, they took a bit of a punt on me, and it seemed to pay off. And so I think I'm in their biggest room now in Pleasance 1 this year, starting on Tuesday, which is, oh shit, tomorrow. You know, when you come here for years and you kind of earn every bum on every seat and go leafleting every day, and you're in a non-venue that, like my first venue was in the corner of a pub with a blanket separating me from the bar, in a Firkin pub no less, with no technician and a sound system that broke every time I yelled, and I'd have to walk up the back of the room and reset it. And so when you've kind of come from that, it's a big deal to be picked up by a major agency and have one of the major venues get behind you and all.
Any kind of striking memories from this place? Any things that stand out, things that have happened, good heckles, good put-downs?
Actually, this one's been a bit par for the course, I guess. Let me see, I think I did part 2 of my trilogy here, and that was my wilderness year. I wasn't entirely present for most of that. And I used to take the crowd out, we'd run out of time, and so I would take the crowd down those stairs there and out into the courtyard. And the Pleasance, being the Pleasance as well, would send out bouncers to watch the show and actually make sure that nothing kicked off. We had one guy turn up asking people for money on crutches, and I ended the show by wearing a slutty nun's outfit, and instead I got him to dress it. And while he was demanding money off people, he switched legs that were sore. And so we were all giving it the big hallelujah, it's a miracle. And he didn't even notice. He's like, oh, you got any spare change? So I'm lame.
You healed a cripple.
Yeah, well, I think
through the power of comedy.
Yeah, through the power of comedy. I think he had something to do with it. And there was another time we went downstairs into the toilet, and then we weren't allowed there. And so then we went.
What size audience were you trying to pack into a toilet?
This is 200.
The 200 people. The toilets downstairs are not big, so. Quite
yeah, that was a weird one.
200 people in there. How many of the 200 did you squeeze in?
All 200.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so then they sent someone down and said, you can't do that, so can you go out into the courtyard? This was before the cow existed. Right. And so we'd finish out in the courtyard. And then I came back the following year to do part 3 of my trilogy. And that was another scary year as well, as it was my first sober Edinburgh, if you will. Not if you will, just my first sober Edinburgh. If you will is what someone says when they're tired and trying to sound smarter than they are. Which... So that was also kind of very emotional and personal as well, because it was, you know, you kind of build up that kind of that image around yourself, and then you wonder whether you can still do this, and also you wonder whether or not people are still going to be interested in you, because they maybe were living vicariously through you before. But everyone was very supportive, and a lot of people were just kind of glad I wasn't dead. So that was kind of very touching. And then the following year came back, and this is where I did the So I Suppose show, which got us the final gong. And it was the perfect room for it as well. It was just the right size, just the right level of intimate, but big enough to justify the kind of rock and roll and elements to it, and the big dance numbers with the girls and all. I think if we had a big dance number with the girls in anything like maybe even 20 seats less, and it would have just seemed like we were bothering people. You know, it would have seemed a bit like, say like in British lap dancing clubs, right? If you go to Spearmint Rhino, they're in the corner and they leave you alone. And I think that would have felt a bit more like when you've gone to the wrong kind of lap dancing club and it's someone just very personally standing next to you in a teddy trying to make you drink champagne. You then realise all of a sudden that you're a bit sleazy, as opposed to you've just gone for a laugh. I think it's a myth that, hang on, I'm getting off subject here.
No, carry on.
I think it's a myth that, you know, they say that women go to Chippendales for a laugh. I think most blokes go to that for a laugh, you know, to be all blokey. And, but unless they go on their own, and then it is creepy. Or during the day. I think it's unacceptable. I think if you're eating while that's happening, then you've got a problem.